Donald Trump's Russia problem is getting worse, and more complicated. Questions about his campaign's alleged ties to Moscow seem to proliferate by the hour. The mushroom cloud surrounding his baseless allegations that President Barack Obama wiretapped Trump Tower is spreading faster. The investigations have become difficult to keep track of, and those are just the ones we know about. But the revelation on Thursday that fired former Trump National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, who also served as a top campaign aide, was offering his testimony to Congress in exchange for legal immunity signaled a potential turning point. General Flynn certainly has a story to tell, his lawyer said, and he very much wants to tell it, should the circumstances permit. If you're arriving on the scene late, the Flynn news can be summed up this way: one of Trump's highest-ranked and most trusted campaign hands, who then scored one of the most powerful positions in the White House, is now saying he wants to answer questions under oath about the Trump team's alleged Russian connections. That's the news. What follows is a reminder of how we got here. It's not a timeline, but 4 distinct points that, if properly digested, will help put the next big scoop into its proper context. Vladimir Putin has some deep-seated issues with the US, and Hillary Clinton. Russian politics have a reputation for being difficult to decode. As stereotypes go, this one is well-earned and enduring. Moscow's intentions have bedeviled world leaders for more than a century. Winston Churchill famously declared that even he, the celebrated political prognosticator, could not forecast to you the action of Russia. It is a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma, he said in October 1939. Some time has passed, but the old chestnut holds up. A World War and Cold War later, the Soviet Union eventually collapsed under its own weight, with a shove from the West, and, by the early 1990s, the Russian state was depleted. The global superpower had begun to look, and act, like a gangster state. One with an uncomfortably large nuclear weapons cache. Enter Vladimir Putin. On December 31, 1999, the former KGB officer assumed power after the president, Boris Yeltsin, resigned. Putin has since claimed 21st-century Russia as his own. His desire to restore Moscow to the head of the international order has never wavered. The U.S. mostly embraced Putin at the beginning of his reign. In the post-Soviet scramble, he appeared to leaders anxious over global stability, and all those nukes, like a steady hand. Cunning perhaps, but a pragmatist. Someone you could work with. But the relationship soured. Various attempted resets failed and, by 2011, Putin was accusing the U.S. of ginning up domestic protests against his government. Putin reportedly blamed the Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton. 4 years out from the American election cycle that would eventually pit Clinton against the Republican businessman Donald Trump, the U.S.-Russian relationship turned toxic.